Okay, so yeah, I'm Italian, and like to be Italian has a really strong culture. I think like I've seen a graphical like they were trying to measure how much culture influences other country, and Italy was like top five. So it's really influential. When you say Italy, you already thinking about like stereotypes, like pasta, food, or like mafia, like criminal associations. And and that's very true, because of movies, because of like Italo Americans that then they had careers in cinema. Like for me, to be Italian, it means belonging to a big diversity. As I don't know if you know, but we have been a united country only like since less than 160 years. So we are like a very young country in a certain sense compared to the others in Europe. And there's still like a lot of division between the north and the south and even the central, like both in terms of traditions and like um, dialects, language. So I had colleagues from Naples, and amongst them they speak their own dialect, and I can understand when they speak amongst them. But so I think there's a lot of challenge for our country still to unite and like feel as a one country, because we do not do that yet. Um, Also, we have a very strong relation with food, as you know. Um, I like to cook. I like to cook pasta, of course. I like to cook different kinds of rice. Like in the region where I've been grown, it's very famous for rice. So I do like rice with different ingredients. But to be back a bit on more on the topic of your own culture or community, my community has really changed like a lot in my life, because I've been until when I was 22, I've been in Italy, and for my early life I was in this small village, and my community has been like the other people of the village. So not like village, like a town, 10,000 people. So other people of the town, so very, I would say, close conservative mind, and that was like my normality. I was also like a conservative person since I was yeah, 20, 22. Then I fortunately got the chance to go to Milan for university, and there the community changed, and I met like more open-minded people, and then I started to change. So the community is really important. Like I've read that somewhere you are the average of the 7 people you pass most time with. So to me, to be bumped in this new community in Milan, it was like really life changing, and I'm super grateful for that, because that made me who I am today. And I think communities are really important in that sense. I mean, sometimes you don't get to choose your community, but if you happen to be like in a different community of yours, you have to try to learn as much as you can from these other people, and that's kind of what we're doing now, right? Now my community is you guys, so I'm glad like we are doing this together. Um, so, what do you think about communities?
For me, I would say community is like the people I surround myself with. And okay, there's this stereotype. There are times I travel for work and they're like, "Where are you from?" And like, "What continent?" When you say Africa, like people think Africa is one. You see people asking, do you know Thompson from Uganda? Like, I don't even know someone from my country. Like, so that's why, like, when they're like, or people say, I want to travel to Africa, I'm like, where in Africa? It's usually so ridiculous. Because being Nigerian, we have over like 300 tribes. And we're over 200 million people in Nigeria. So just think of Africa with over 54 countries. So for me, community is not the same group of people. I have different people depending on what I'm talking about. And I would say for me, when you ask me like who my community is, I like my tribe, my people, and tribe not like my local dialect, but people that I like we think alike, we spend more time together, and that would be, apart from my family, that would be my friends. And that's because, like you said, you spend, like, you are an average of the 7 people that you spend most time with. And for me, I'm very conscious about the people around me because of like what I want to do and my mindset and where I want to get to in life. So community for me are people that I spend more time with. We're from different regions, we speak different languages, different, we have different belief systems, but one thing that keeps us together is like our common goal and our mindset. So if you ask me, I'll say community to me is not where I'm from, but like where I'm going, if that makes sense. And then, but for culture, I don't like to really talk too much about my culture because when I do, there are many beautiful things like our food, our language, people say it's nice to hear and all that. But when it comes to like proper culture, it's like messed up. So I don't really like to talk about it. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a culture close to mine where when a man dies, his wife, okay, they bathe the like dead body, and his wife is forced to drink the water that they used to bathe to prove she didn't kill him. Like that's not my culture, but that's around my region. So like I feel that's so stupid. Like if it's the other way around, do you tell the man to prove like he's innocent? Or and after that like she's forced to maybe marry like the brother, like so many stupid things. So I don't like to like think about all those things. So for me I'll stick to my community. That's where I'm going to. And that's like the people I surround myself with. For now, I would say this is my community. Mm-hmm. Next year, it could be another group of people. But it's not where I'm from, it's where I'm going to.
And I wanted to ask you, both of you, do you think that your countries are like united, are all on the same page, or there are like still some, and if there are like which kind of differences there are inside the country?
I would say for me, like we're very divided. And I think that's the cause of most of the problems. I mean, like countries like a country like India, they're very divided, like not divided, rather they're very different in terms of beliefs and whatever, but they're not as divided as maybe a country like Nigeria with 200 million people. But I think it all boils down to like mindset and the fact that, and who is in power. Like what you're saying, I can relate to like leadership. Our president is an amazing person, you understand what I mean? He's like, he's over 70, no, over 80 years old. And I mean like not to throw shades, but how would you lead a country when you can't even move? Like you are weak, but you don't want to accept that. And there was this statement he made recently. He said that a woman's place is in the kitchen. Like BBC, that was where he said that. Literally, that is in the kitchen and the other room. And like I'm like, and since then, like most of us who advocate like for all this gender and the rest, like we have no one to like to support us if your president is saying things like that. So there are many issues. Like Nigeria has so much potentials. Like we're intelligent people. We're like, I think we're friendly, we're warm, we're everything. And wherever we go to, like we ensure like we're resilient. But at the same time, like because of like the hardship and what people go through, it makes people like do very terrible things. So for me, I would say we're in a state of, I'm not sure if that's a country for now because it's like, I don't know, but I hope one day like we go back and then we make proper decisions by like electing people, a president that will lead us and not someone who really doesn't know what he's doing.
One last thing, really quick. So, what do you think like
If we get to a point where we realize that no matter what you've gone through, it shouldn't make you think like your problems are like more than other people's problems. I think most times like the problem is that most times we're not selfish but self-centered, thinking, oh my god, I've gone through this and this and this, like you don't know what I've gone through, you don't know, you've not lived in this part of the world and all that. But like if we get to realize that all our problems are valid, and then we should help each other to solve it and not look at you're more privileged, even if yes some people are, but that shouldn't be the main point. The main point is we all have problems, right? And how could we solve it? And try to like listen, active listening, like you said, listen to this person, listen to that person. Because for example, the work I do, like I get people we were talking about like being a therapist, where some people will come and like they'll be telling you so many things that are quite irrelevant, but you're in that place to listen and try to help them. So as this group, I think we should our actions should do the talking. We should show that we're all from different places, but we can actually live together. And not just for the cameras or for the documentaries, but really in our hearts know that, do I see her as my sister really? Or do I like see her as a different person? I think when we do that and we're genuine, I think like it will translate into like even our messages. And when we get back home, we would be able to tell this person that I lived with Lorenzo from Italy for 6 months, and then we learned this and learned that, and I lived with Kyle from the US, and then even if you think people Americans are this, like I don't think so. So in this 6 months from our experiences and how we treat one another, I think it will translate in what we're trying to do, and not just for the gram or for whatever, but really to our actions should do the talking basically.